we do get to a point where Director Young, you just brought up Public Enemy. And, that was a moment when it seemed as though hip hop was really starting to speak to very directly to issues of social issues, political issues. I mean, can you talk a little bit about the impact that Public Enemy really had in our understanding of what hip hop could be?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Dr. Reese can describe it too, but I think it's a sonic and a social mix. I mean, what's beautiful about Public Enemy is that layered sound they had. I remember dancing to it myself, but it's dancing and thinking at the same time, which is, I think, the kind of thing that hip hop offers us. But we have to remember this is hip hop's one in a long line of Black music inventions, innovations that I think are central to us thinking about American culture, but also world culture. Soul music also was social and made you move. Blues thought about expressing individual feelings through this, what I like to think of as a kind of I that's also a we. When Bessie Smith is singing, you start to feel that connection to her and to that experience. And I think in that long tradition, hip hop makes a lot of sense, and Public Enemy seems like it's very much connected to other music, whether it's soul music or funk music, or however you want to think of it. And of course, hip hop is made up of those musics. It literally samples them, it riffs off them, it refers to them, and that long tradition that is also a jazz tradition is really powerful. And that layered sound, I think, is also a way of thinking about our layers of responsibility and thought as we move about the world and maybe move on the dance floor.
Dr. Reese, would you like to add to that?
The only thing I would add is sometimes the discussion about hip hop is generational, and just all the interviews we've been doing and conversations we're having. I really think there is something to hip hop as a movement, just like any other movement in time. It started as a grassroots effort and just blew up. But I also think of that post-civil rights generation as, after the legislations and accomplishments in the 60s, as the country is still trying to find itself, that hip hop develops as another tool, just as Director Young mentioned, of fulfilling a long tradition of how to address issues, how to innovate and create new sounds. And I see hip hop as pulling us forward, not only African Americans, but all people who listen to it, from the philosophies behind it, the sounds, the experimentation, the fluidity of it, the message. And, I think it's arguably, some would argue, but if we start to look at it after these 40 years, that it is a cultural and social moment that has not only shaped America, but the global community as well. So, part of this set is not only for the aficionados, but is also for those people who may not understand what hip hop's all about. And we all know that there are preconceptions about all ideas of what hip hop is, and they still continue in some quarters. And so the box set itself, with the music, with the essays, with the images and the liner notes, really paints hip hop just as any kind of historical, cultural, social movement that has existed over time, and frames it from a variety of perspectives. So, one of the hopes we have is that people start to understand that and appreciate the genre and the culture for what it is and what it's contributed to society.